thought it was going to be a drizzle and I'll just walk through it. But yeah, on my way I was just thinking I should have taken the car out.
Across the West tonight, stormy conditions are returning. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. From Washington to Arizona, people are preparing for a series of storms this week. Rain already coming down in Seattle and the San Francisco Bay Area. Southern California will also be getting rain as well. And these are colder systems expected to dump snow in the mountains. Winter weather advisories for this week stretch into parts of Arizona and Nevada. We begin our team coverage tonight on this new round of storms with KTVU's Ann Rubin, who followed people getting ready in Santa Cruz County, California.
It was a race against the clock. Crews with California state parks tried to dig, saw, and move what they could before the next storm hit.
Today we brought in all hands on deck, everybody that we could pull from San Mateo through Santa Cruz. We have heavy equipment here. We pulled in from Sacramento, and we're trying to get this back to clean and stable.
Their focus, Rio Del Mar and Seacliff state beaches, both of which sustained serious damage last week. High waves hit Thursday and again early Saturday, bringing debris ashore and knocking out infrastructure.
But at this level, what we're seeing, and it's happening this frequently, it's really hard to keep up with.
At Venus Cocktails and Kitchen, they're in the same boat. High waves were lapping at their doorstep last week.
It's just what it is. We gotta clean up when the weather's good.
And so they're scraping and spraying the muck away, knowing more rain and waves are in the forecast.
Hopefully we don't get more sand back in here. It would be really kind of crazy for us to feel like we have to do this over again. I mean, this is the second time we've done it. I don't want to do it a third time so soon.
Randy Smith doesn't either. He spent the afternoon clearing debris from in front of his house.
Just doing my part for the neighborhood here.
He calls this cycle of weather and waves worrisome. He just hopes the flooding isn't as bad next time.
It's just Mother Nature. You just hope for the best.
There is a high surf advisory from Wednesday into Thursday, with waves up to 23 feet expected. Officials are asking that people stay away from the beaches if at all possible. In Santa Cruz County, Ann Rubin, KTVU Fox 2 News.
Well, so far, people in Southern California only seeing some light rain. This is a live look at LAX to give you a sense of conditions there tonight. You can see the roads a bit wet there by the airport. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Roberta Gonzalez with more on what we can expect from these storms. Roberta?
Alex, it was perfect to see Ann Rubin in Santa Cruz, California, because Northern California is going to bear the brunt from this system, as opposed to the Pacific Northwest, who generally does see more rain showers than the Bay Area of California. Now you see the frontal boundary. It's taken up a lot of real estate from the Pacific Northwest all into the Bay Area, and you saw a few raindrops into the Los Angeles basin. Behind it yet, California and also Washington and Oregon needs to brace themselves for this next cold front that's on tap to invade the area beginning on Saturday. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Right now, we're taking a look at the copious amounts of precipitation around the Canadian and also Washington border. You see hit and miss scattered showers all the way into that northwestern corner of the state of California. We're even seeing the first snow on the fly around sections of California, around Happy Camp, all the way into the Mount Shasta area. Again, the first time for this winter season. Meanwhile, the initial front, the boundary associated with this area of low pressure, has just sliced through the extreme northern portion of the state of California, as well as the Bay Area, dumping already an inch of rain in the northern portion of the Bay Area, primarily around the Santa Rosa area, as well as Sebastopol and Guerneville and Windsor. And you can see now in its wake here, there's a lot of unstable air mass. So therefore, we have to keep the potential of a thunderstorm in the Bay Area forecast all the way up to that northwestern quadrant of the state of California. You see the clouds passing through. Watch that right there, and that's where we saw a little bit of condensation in the form of drizzle in the Los Angeles area. These clouds will make their way to Salt Lake City with snowfall by Thursday. Until then, the snow level continues to drop in the Pacific Northwest and also into the greater Lake Tahoe area down to 5,000 feet. So snow finally arriving to Lake Tahoe. Alex?
All right, good to hear it, Roberta. Thank you. And as Roberta mentioned, we cannot count out the Pacific Northwest here. Live images from Seattle tonight show the rain falling there. Some of the raindrops on the lens sort of obscuring the view of the skyline there. Washington ski resorts are hoping this week's storms will dump even more snow up in the mountains. The region's ski season is off to a tough start with conditions warmer and drier than usual. And Arizona is getting some new snowfall. These are images captured today near the Grand Canyon's Mather Point. Winter weather advisories will take effect tomorrow in this area, and they are already in effect not far away in southern Nevada. A former NBA G League player was in court in Las Vegas earlier today after being extradited from California to face murder charges. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Chance Comanche and his 19-year-old girlfriend planned a kidnapping and murder. The remains of 23-year-old Morena Rogers were discovered in a desert area near Henderson on December 5th. The Stockton Kings released him after his arrest. He did not enter a plea. His girlfriend, 19-year-old Sakari Harnden, is due in court tomorrow. Prosecutors say they do intend to try the two together. Surveillance video shows a large crowd looting a Southern California store after someone crashed a car into that business. As Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reports, this all unfolded near the site of a dangerous street takeover.
Is that it's a white Kia Soul.
Security video showing a white Kia repeatedly slamming into the door of Reuben's Bakery in Compton. From inside, more security video, a mob of people looting the popular location. Investigators saying this all began with a street takeover outside the business.
Reuben's Bakery is a family-owned business serving Compton for 48 years.
No tienen control.
They're out of control, says one customer, referring to the street takeovers in Compton. The intersection in front of the bakery shows leftover traces of the fire. The takeover crowd began before breaking into the bakery. Law enforcement should have stopped them before it got out of control, he says, echoing many Compton residents, Cindy Enamorado among them. For her, it's personal.
I lost my brother, a civil engineer, to this crowd.
Raymond Olivares and his fiancée, third-grade teacher Claudia Rivas Cruz, were crossing the street last February when surveillance video shows a vehicle slamming into them. Olivares died. His fiancée was badly injured. The suspect was fleeing from a street takeover in Compton.
We need to have a sense of urgency. We need to jump on this a little bit faster.
The street takeover task force is ongoing. That's as much as I can provide for you right now.
I'm going almost on a year since I lost my brother, and we're still facing the same things.
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting for us tonight. In Portland, police there say 19 people are in custody after 2 nights of illegal street racing. The arrests follow an operation where officers spent 2 nights stopping illegal street takeovers. Along with those arrests, officers also issued 13 citations, recovered 7 guns, and had 21 cars towed away. Former President Trump is expected to file an appeal soon to the ruling that kicked him off the primary ballot in Colorado. Today, his legal team appealed the ruling that barred him from the primary ballot in Maine to a Maine Superior Court. Maine Secretary of State found Trump violated the 14th Amendment of the Constitution by leading an insurrection during the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. The Maine ruling is on hold pending the appeal. Trump is expected to appeal a similar ruling by Colorado's Supreme Court to the U.S. Supreme Court. Police say the arrest of a man accused of breaking into the Colorado Supreme Court building early this morning does not appear to be linked to the Trump case. Officers responded to a 2-car crash just after 1 this morning, where one of the drivers allegedly pointed a handgun at the other. A short time later, the Colorado State Patrol said the same suspect breached the court building holding a security guard at gunpoint. The suspect got keys from the guard and fired shots inside the building. The man later voluntarily surrendered after about 2 hours. Coming up tonight, GOP lawmakers have a new plan they hope will put pressure on the White House. Coming up, their strategy to get what they want in negotiations over border security. Also, a new warning is out for people visiting the Las Vegas Strip. We'll tell you about the rule change making one popular activity a misdemeanor offense. A high-profile attorney accused of stealing more than $15 million from clients is competent to stand trial. A Southern California judge made that decision today, clearing the way for Thomas Girardi to face trial on wire fraud charges. The 84-year-old was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2021. Prosecutors believe he is using that diagnosis to dodge accountability. If he's convicted, he faces up to 20 years in prison on each wire fraud count. Girardi is accused of stealing from clients over the course of 10 years. He became known for taking on powerful corporations, and one of his most famous cases was against Pacific Gas and Electric. That led to a $333 million settlement. That was the case portrayed in the movie Erin Brockovich. A Colorado mother suspected of killing two of her young children and injuring a third has been arrested in London. Authorities say Kimberly Singler has been on the run for several days. Police in Colorado Springs found Singler's 9-year-old daughter and 7-year-old son dead on December 19th as they responded to a reported burglary at the home. Police later said that burglary report was unfounded. Officials said Singler appeared in a UK court yesterday and will remain in custody there until her next court appearance coming up on January 29th. Tonight, authorities in Southern California are investigating the cause of a house fire that killed 3 people. As Fox 11's Gigi Graciette reports, witnesses say one of those victims tried to alert others about the fire.
It was 1 a.m. when someone from inside this home on Tyler Avenue in the Temple City area called 911 to report a fire. And when LA County firefighters arrived, it was raging.
Fully involved. Fire did spread throughout the house with 5 people living within the house.
LA County Sheriff deputies were also on the scene helping people get out of the burning house. But inside there were still 3 people. One man on the first floor who witnesses said had gone upstairs to help 2 others get out.
One of the 3 was on the bottom floor that was notified originally, and he had proceeded upstairs to alert the other 2 victims that had passed.
And then never made it down himself.
That is correct.
The bodies of all 3, which included that Good Samaritan who tried saving the others, were found on the staircase leading down from the 2nd floor. Meanwhile, the 2 survivors were taken to the hospital to be checked out for possible smoke inhalation. As for the cause of the fire, investigators with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Arson and Explosives Detail are here on the scene trying to determine what happened. In the Temple City area, I'm Gigi Graciette. Back to you.
Tomorrow, a group of congressional Republicans will draw attention to the influx of migrants arriving along the southern border. House Speaker Mike Johnson is planning to lead a coalition of GOP lawmakers who will visit the border, calling on President Biden to take action. A surge of migrant arrivals has kept Lukeville, Arizona's border crossing closed to vehicle traffic for several weeks. That's allowing Customs and Border Protection workers to dedicate more resources to asylum applications. In Texas, Governor Greg Abbott says his state has become overwhelmed by the number of migrants arriving. All of this is happening as Congress gets ready to resume negotiations over a White House request for billions of dollars to address issues at the border and provide wartime aid to Ukraine and Israel. Republicans have said tougher asylum restrictions must be a part of any deal.
The Climate Prediction Center today did declare that California and the Pacific Northwest should anticipate above normal precipitation all the way through March. So let's get to it. We're starting with an area of low pressure that is now inundating the state of California, as well as the Pacific Northwest. This is a massive area of low pressure. The frontal boundary is slicing through Northern California. Right now, the core, the center, is still up in the Pacific Northwest. This is yet another system that will bombard the West Coast from actually Vancouver all the way into Southern California on Saturday. But first things first, let's talk about this. Waves of rain showers continue to push into that northwestern section of the state of California. Crescent City has been getting hammered today. Meanwhile, we have the first snowfall of the winter season and throughout the mountains so far reaching Northern California. We have copious amounts of rain right now in the Bay Area, as well as that Watch it again. That band of clouds sweeping through Southern California with a little bit of light precipitation. Only about a trace has been reported. Salt Lake City, you're going to get your fair share of a little bit of light snowfall from this system within the next 48 hours. So meanwhile, look at this next band that is ready. It's poised, it's positioned to move into Seattle all the way into Bedford, Oregon. And Crescent City at that northwestern quadrant of the state, you should see over an inch of rain within the next 24 hours. Now, the high temperature today in Seattle was 47 degrees, which is seasonal. Meanwhile, in the Bay Area, spot on for this time of the year with the rain that did develop during the midday hours. And in Los Angeles, with just a trace of precipitation so far today, 68 degrees. So it's been relatively on the mild side. And we do have the bank of cloudiness that's working its way into the Inland Empire. San Bernardino County working its way into the Mojave Desert with no precipitation slated. But it's going to rain from Wednesday all the way through Friday and throughout the Seattle area. We do have copious amounts of precipitation slated for Saturday in San Francisco. Until then, it will be a sunshiny day on Thursday before clouding back up on Friday. Dry skies in the forecast for Wednesday in Denver. Rain slated, turning to snow by nightfall. And then we have rain on cue for the Los Angeles area on Thursday, but dry skies in Phoenix.
All right, Roberta, thank you. California state water officials today conducted the first snowpack survey of the year. A team measured snow depth and water content today at Phillips Station off Highway 50 in Northern California. The snow depth was at 7.5 inches and snow water content was at 3 inches. That's 30% of the average to date and 12% of the April average when the snowpack is at its peak for this location. As you can see, the snow was very patchy out there today, and these numbers are much lower than last year's, which were measured during a snowy start to winter.
Here at Phillips last year on this date, we were standing on almost 5 feet of snow, so vastly different than what we are standing on here today. Today's result shows that it's really still too early to determine what kind of year we'll have in terms of wet or dry. And there can be so many things that happen with our storm systems between now and April when we should see our peak snowpack.
The Sierra Snowpack supplies about 1/3 of all of California's water. Police in Utah say a 17-year-old Chinese foreign exchange student was found alive after being the victim of a cyber kidnapping. They say he was abducted and his kidnappers sent a ransom to his parents, demanding $80,000, which they paid. The victim was then left in the wilderness. Police found him later at a makeshift campsite in the northern Utah mountains. An investigation is continuing tonight. X is getting another valuation markdown from Fidelity Investments. Fidelity says X, formerly Twitter, is now worth 71.5% less than what Elon Musk paid for it. This is the second time the investment company has reduced the valuation. Fidelity was part of the investment group that helped Musk finance part of that $44 billion used to buy the San Francisco company in 2022. X has been facing a number of challenges, including losing major advertisers over alleged racist and anti-Semitic content on that platform. Well, frequent flyer miles are popular perks among travelers, but the Department of Transportation says it's starting to investigate some of those airline loyalty programs after 2 senators raised concerns about consumer safety. In a letter sent to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, those senators claim frequent flyer programs deceive travelers by changing point systems to make it difficult for them to accrue rewards. Consumer protection officials say they are now taking steps to investigate any unfair practices. The rankings are in tonight for airlines and who does the best when it comes to being on time. The report by aviation analytics firm Cirium says Delta was the best in 2023. Delta flights arrived over 84% of the time last year within 15 minutes of their scheduled gate arrival time. This is the 5th straight year for Delta being on top of these rankings. And here is the top 5 for 2023. Alaska Airlines in second place with an 82% on-time record. And American in third with an 80% on-time record. United and Southwest round out the top 5. Up next tonight on West Coast Wrap, Super Bowl construction crews moving into Las Vegas. Coming up, why some people think Sin City has become one of the country's best sports towns. Also, see how a helicopter was brought in to save a dog's life along the Oregon coast. Visitors to Las Vegas will no longer be allowed to stop and snap photos or take in the sights as they cross those popular pedestrian bridges along the Strip. Today, Clark County commissioners unanimously approved an ordinance that prohibits people from stopping or standing on those bridges or engaging in any activity that causes others to stop on the bridges. Backers of the new rule say it will increase safety by ensuring a continuous flow of pedestrian traffic. Those found violating the new rule could face a misdemeanor charge. Well, Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas may be weeks away, but the city already is taking steps now to get ready for the big game. Crews started blocking off sidewalks along stretches of the Strip early this morning. These closures will make space for construction of a large Super Bowl broadcast platform and stage. Preparations for the Super Bowl come on the heels of Formula One races that attracted some large crowds to Vegas in November. And other major sporting events are already planned after the Super Bowl as well. Fox 5's Vince Sapienza reports that NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell thinks Las Vegas is turning into a premier sports destination.
You've really become Sports Town USA. You really have.
At the Caesars Forum, it was a who's who of sports dignitaries in Southern Nevada, from the UFC to the world champion Golden Knights and Aces to F1 and the NBA. Everyone in attendance voiced their excitement for what is to come, but no one more so excited than the commissioner himself.
I have no doubt that this is going to be a successful Super Bowl and that we'll be back here a lot for Super Bowls. This community has become so much more than just a sports town, so much more than it is really in many ways the entertainment capital of the world. So for us to be able to have that kind of platform, the stadium obviously it's our stage for the Super Bowl. We saw that almost immediately. As a matter of fact, Mark, as you know, Mark Davis really from day one.
The Super Bowl is always the hottest ticket, no matter the town. But Goodell says the Vegas effect has hit different.
We're not going to have enough inventory to take care of everybody in the demand. But that's somewhat natural, but I think it's happening sooner.
What are your expectations for Super Bowl 58?
Better than perfect. I would say the buzz, at least in our environment, is off the charts and never been higher. And again, I think that's a tribute to so much of what you've created here in this community. But I think that's going to continue and build, and I think it will be extraordinary.
But that is the latest. I'm Vince Sapienza, Fox 5 News Local, Las Vegas.
Well, sports fans will be turning their attention to Las Vegas even after the Super Bowl. In March, the men's Pac-12 basketball tournament returns to T-Mobile Stadium there. And baseball fans are still waiting for the release of new renderings of a proposed A's stadium after Major League Baseball approved the team's move from Oakland to Vegas. Finally tonight, the U.S. Coast Guard rescued a dog after it fell off a cliff along the Oregon coast. This happened yesterday at Ecola State Park. A helicopter lowered a Coast Guard swimmer down into the water. They put the dog into a hoisting basket. That dog was brought back to shore and then later reunited with its family. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching, and a reminder here, you can stay up to date on all the stories we're covering at our website, westcoastwrap.com, and you can also stream all of our shows right on your smart TV by downloading the Fox Local app. We'll leave you with a live look here. Beautiful Golden Gate Bridge. Have a great night. I'll see you back here tomorrow.